first of all, what is sampling? Sampling is the process of using a small number of items or parts of larger population to make a conclusion about the whole population. Because when we are going to conduct a market research, so it is impossible to collect the data from the total population, and that is why a small part from that population is selected to conduct the research, which is called a sample. And that is the reason behind conducting the sampling while conducting research into the market. So here are some terminologies that relates with the sampling. So first of all, we use population. It refers to the group of people, items or units under investigation and includes every individual. So basically population is the whole market from which we are going to conduct the research and we are going to collect the sample. And sample is a collection consisting of a part or subset of the objects or individuals of population which is selected for the purpose representing the population. So in simple words, we can say that the group of people taking part in a market research are called the sample. And what is sampling? It is the process of selecting a sample from the population. So population is the whole market, and among the whole population there are few who are our target population, and selecting few or choosing few for the purpose of research, that few people or the group are called the sample. So why there is a need of sampling? Because large population can be conveniently covered if we are using sampling. So we can select just few people and we can conduct research on them, we can ask few questions, we can conduct a small survey to them, and then we will apply the conclusion to the whole population. Then time, money and energy is saved because it's impossible to ask each and every individual of the whole population. So time is saved, at the same time money is saved and energy is saved. Then helpful when units of area are homogeneous, because when the priorities and the characteristics and the demands of all the people are same, so instead of asking from each and everyone, we must select a sample and we must ask from them only. And used when percent accuracy is not acquired, means we use sampling when a specific percentage is not required, that at least this much number of people must be asked. So used when the data is unlimited. When we have a lot of data or which is unlimited, means we have a huge population, so at that time we also use sampling because it is convenient for us. But at the same time there are some disadvantages of sampling, that sometimes it could be biased and the incorrect conclusions can give rise to the problems. Then selection of true representative sample, sometimes it is difficult to select the right representative sample, means we can say that we can choose the wrong sample, and need for specialized knowledge, because to conduct the sampling or to conduct the research, the proper training, proper knowledge and proper experience must be given to the researcher, otherwise it can create problem. Then impossibility of sampling, sometimes population is too small or too heterogeneous. It means that sometimes the population is too small that we cannot collect the sample or we cannot conduct the research, or sometimes there is a lot of variety over there. There are so many multinationals, people living at the same area, that it is quite difficult to conduct the research in that particular area. So in that situation, the sampling would not be possible. So we can say that a good sample must have the following characteristics. First of all, it should be a true representative of the population. Like it must represent the population, and all the population must have the same characteristics that are present in that sample. Then free from error due to bias. Like while selecting the sample, no nepotism and no favoritism should be there, or like we must not ask the questions from our close friends and relatives because they may give the biased answers, always in the favor of our business. And adequate in size for being reliable. Suppose if we are going to conduct the research and we have a mass market business, so our sample size must be reasonable, otherwise it would not be the accurate one. Then units of sample should be independent and relevant, like they must not have linked together, but they must be independent to have an accurate result. Then units of sample should be complete, precise and up to date. Like the sample that we are going to select, they must be up to date, means they must have the complete knowledge about our product. Then free from random sampling error, that we must select the sample very precisely and avoiding substituting the original sample for convenience. Like suppose if we have conducted research already, so we must not use the same sample to the next time just for our convenience, but every time we must change the sample to get the good results. Okay, now we are going to discuss its types of sampling. So basically we have two types, probability sampling and non-probability sampling. So what is probability sampling? This involves the selection of a sample from a population based on the principle of random chance. Like every individual has an equal chance of being selected. So the first probability sampling method is simple random sampling, in which every individual of the whole population has an equal chance to be selected as a sample. For example, if you wish to draw a sample of 50 students from a population of 400 students, place all the 400 names in a container and draw out 50 names one by one. So it means all those 50, like the chance to be selected from those 400 was equal for everyone. The next type of sampling is systematic sampling. Each member of the sample comes after an equal interval from its previous member. Like all the members are selected and the next sample comes after an equal interval from its previous member. Just like, for example, if there is a sample of 50 students, the sampling fraction is 50 over 400, so it would be 1 over 8. So select one student out of every 8 student in the population. The starting point of the selection is chosen at random. Like the first one we will select randomly, and then later on we will give the gap of the 7 next students, and the every next 8th student will be selected as sample. So this is called systematic sampling. Then here comes the stratified sampling. The population is divided into smaller homogeneous groups or strata by some characteristics, and from each of these strata members are selected randomly. Finally, from each stratum, using simple random or systematic sample method is used to select the final sample. So we can take the example of a school. Suppose we have to select 100 students, and from different age groups. So we will not select all of them randomly, but we will select them from different classes, like 10 from class 1, 10 from class 2, 10 from class 3. So they all will have will be different, but and we will select them randomly, but they are selected from specific strata. Okay, the last type of the probability sampling is cluster sampling or area sampling. When a full sampling frame list is not available, or the target population is too geographically dispersed, then cluster sampling will take a sample from just one or a few group, not the whole population. Means when a researcher, enumerator, selects sampling unit at random and then does complete observation of all units in the group. For example, the study involves the primary schools. Suppose if an area there are different schools and we select 15 of them, then we study all the children of 15 schools. In cluster samplings, the unit of sampling consists of multiple cases. It is also known as area sampling, and as the selection of individual member is made on the basis of place, residence or employment. Because the area is involved usually, that is why it is called the cluster sampling or area sampling. Okay, and now we will discuss the types of non-probability sampling. So the first one is purposive sampling. It is also called judgmental sampling. In judgmental sampling, the researcher selects a typical group of individuals who might represent the larger population and then collect data from this group. And why the researcher select the typical group? Because he might have the shortage of time, so he will select the people to whom he considered that they are able to provide the accurate answer. That is why he select the sample on his own judgment. That is why it is called judgmental sampling. The next type of sampling is convenience sampling. It refers to the procedures of obtaining units or members who are most conveniently available. It consists of units which are obtained because cases are readily available. So when we conduct the research and when we select the sample, usually which consist of our relatives or our friends, because they are available all the time, and whenever we want to conduct a research, they can easily provide us the answers, or they are available as sample. So such type of selection of sample is called convenience sampling. The next type of sampling is called quota sampling, and we also use the word ad hoc quota for this. And a quota is established, suppose if we say that 40% women, and researchers are told to choose any respondents they wish up to the preset quota. Like they can choose anyone, but they must be 40% women. So the selection of the sample is made by the researcher, who decides the quotas for selecting sample from specified subgroups of the population, because as we know that in the whole population so many types of subgroups are present, like men, women, old age, employed, unemployed. So we have to select a specific subgroup for sampling. Okay, and the last type of the non-probability sampling is snowball sampling. In snowball sampling, the researcher identifying and selecting available respondents who meet the criteria for inclusion. So basically, the first respondent refers a friend, who then refers another friend, and so the process continues. Like we contacted one of our friend and as a sample, and then we ask him to refer his another friend. So that is why such type of sampling is called chain sampling, chain referral, or sampling referral sampling.